This is about what I will personally label the idiocy of Team USA women's basketball. How dare you make this decision? It's stupid. And I'm going to tell you why it's stupid. I want all the ladies on this squad to know every single one of y'all are deserving of it. Caitlin Clark does not deserve a spot ahead of any of the players on this roster. Okay? If we're talking just basketball, you know we're not. You know we're not.
Out of nowhere, a single move just shook the entire sports media world. There was no countdown, no leaks, no slow buildup. It happened fast, and the reaction was instant. Social media lit up. Timelines flooded. Some people looked ready for it. A lot of others clearly were not. As the noise grew, the opinions started flying in every direction. Calm analysis quickly turned into loud arguments. Thoughtful discussion gave way to rushed takes. And one well-known voice, someone who moments earlier sounded sure of everything, suddenly lost control of the narrative. The confidence vanished, replaced by frustration and confusion almost overnight. Now everyone is debating what this decision means, who won, who lost, and what comes next. But in all that chaos, most people are missing the bigger point. There's a much more important question being ignored. And once you stop and look at that question closely, the entire situation becomes far more revealing than anyone expected.
Are we ready to admit the Caitlin Clark effect? Is this happening without Caitlin Clark? Without the popularity? Because we've seen what happened to the ratings when she was out for those 2-3 weeks. Remember that, right? Don't let me bring that up. Don't let me get some receipts now. When Caitlin Clark was out, the WNBA's popularity dissipated. That is a fact.
The reaction didn't explode right away. It started with pure shock. The kind of shock that freezes someone in place, like their brain is still trying to catch up to what just happened. For a brief moment, there was silence, followed by a look that said nothing made sense anymore. That was the exact moment Stephen A. Smith seemed to lose his footing. When the news broke that Caitlin Clark was officially done with Team USA, his confidence vanished almost instantly. What followed wasn't a calm response or careful breakdown. It was disbelief mixed with frustration, playing out in real time, as if the news had completely pulled the ground out from under him.
Have popularity, she's number one, and it's not even close. Do you want to have Caitlin Clark on the roster? And if you do, who are you taking off? And how do you tell that person, hey, we want to have the popular girl on? And Caitlin Clark has been playing basketball for almost 10 consecutive months now. She could use a break. I don't want to speak on her behalf, but from what I've seen, she's gone through an awful lot. This is what Team USA is probably worried about. Caitlin Clark's on the bench and she's not getting any run. And then the fans get upset. Now, that was reported by Christine Brennan.
She wasn't hurt. She wasn't sidelined by a coach. There was no vague excuse about rest or recovery. She simply stepped away by choice. Calmly, without drama. And that decision, more than anything else, seemed to break something across sports television. To many watching, it felt almost unbelievable that someone could walk away so easily. The reaction made it clear this wasn't just about basketball anymore. It was about expectations being crushed, assumptions falling apart, and an entire media machine struggling to process the idea that a star player could make a decision on her own terms. And mean it.
If USA Women's Basketball was assembling this Olympic squad and they said, strictly based on the numbers, while Caitlin Clark is an outstanding basketball player, we just don't think she's there yet. And we don't want to take away a spot from someone else that we believe is more deserving from a basketball standpoint, even though we know that she brings millions of eyeballs to this sport. If they left her off this roster because there's concern that her millions of fans would be upset with the amount of playing time that she has, that is absolutely ridiculous.
This wasn't just another player choosing to step aside. In the eyes of the sports media, this was the star saying no. The person everyone expected to carry the spotlight decided she didn't want it, at least not in this moment. That decision caught people completely off guard, because so much of the coverage had been built around her presence and her importance to the bigger story. Stephen A. Smith didn't react to this like a commentator doing analysis. He reacted like someone who felt personally rejected. The tone shifted fast. What could have been a measured discussion turned emotional. The volume went up, the reasoning broke down, and the focus moved away from facts. It stopped being about the decision itself and became about how that decision made him feel. And that's when it was clear. This wasn't a professional disagreement anymore. It was personal, and the response showed it.
She's white. And because of that, when you consider some of the hard times other people gave her, they were resentful of the fact that this white girl came on the scene where there was a bunch of sisters that preceded her spanning decades that were big time that deserved a lot of credit. I mean, people looked at the Cheryl Swoops of the world, the Maya Moores of the world, and others, and they said, yo, there was a bunch of people that came before her that did big things for the WNBA. I respect it. It is right. I appreciate it. But whiteness does have its privileges.
In Stephen A. Smith's world, Team USA is more than a basketball program. It represents the highest level of honor in the sport. So when Caitlin Clark chose to turn down that opportunity, it wasn't treated like a normal career choice. It was framed as something far more serious, almost like a rejection of everything the program stands for. The reaction was immediate and intense. The disbelief came through loud and clear. How could anyone say no to the jersey, the anthem, the spotlight, and the national attention that comes with it? To many in sports media, this was supposed to be her defining moment. The moment where she became the face of the game, a guaranteed ratings boost, and a constant topic of conversation across every show and network. But that moment never arrived. Instead of stepping into that role, Caitlin Clark chose something else. She chose to step away quietly, without drama, without explanation tours, and without seeking approval from television panels or social media debates. She didn't make a scene. She didn't argue her case. She simply made a decision that made sense to her. That calm choice is what seemed to cause the biggest reaction. Stephen A. Smith didn't respond with measured analysis or long-term perspective. His response felt emotional, almost theatrical. What followed sounded less like a breakdown of basketball and more like a performance driven by frustration. The focus shifted away from why she made the choice and turned into outrage over the fact that she made it at all. In the end, Caitlin Clark didn't reject basketball, her country, or the game. She rejected the pressure to follow a script written by others. And while she appeared comfortable and confident in that decision, it was clear that not everyone on sports television was ready to accept it.
Ticket prices, television ratings, it's a fact. It's undeniable. It's undeniable. That's not to throw shade on a product and act like it doesn't grow at all. It's not to say that there wasn't improvement and there wasn't an elevation in its popularity. It's just saying that it's on another dimension when it comes to Caitlin Clark. Do you know what the best thing that could happen for the WNBA is right now? Are you ready for this? If Caitlin Clark...
This is where the situation goes from loud television moments to something much more revealing. Sports media has always been comfortable with chaos. It doesn't just tolerate it, it depends on it. Arguments, outrage, bold claims, and emotional reactions are the currency. Drama fills segments, drives clicks, and keeps viewers watching. In that world, noise isn't a problem. Silence is. And independence is even worse. Caitlin Clark was never treated as just another player. From the beginning, she was positioned as the answer to multiple problems at once. Declining ratings. Limited national attention. A league still fighting for consistent visibility. She became the symbol, the draw, the person expected to lift everything simply by showing up. Cameras followed. Headlines multiplied. Every move was framed as a turning point for the sport itself. That kind of coverage comes with expectations, whether spoken or not. The expectation that she would say yes when called. That she would step into every spotlight offered. That she would play the role assigned to her and keep the story moving in the direction everyone predicted. Team USA was supposed to be the peak of that narrative. The clean, patriotic chapter that tied everything together. Stephen A. Smith wasn't reacting to basketball strategy or roster depth. He was reacting to the collapse of that plan. The version of events where Caitlin Clark shows up, carries the moment, boosts ratings, and gives sports television weeks of easy content. That story was ready to go. Panels were prepared. Opinions were lined up. The outcome felt locked in. Then she opted out. Not with anger. Not with protest. Not with excuses. She simply made a choice. A quiet one. A rational one. The kind of decision professionals make when they're thinking about workload, health, focus, and the long arc of a career. There was no performance attached to it, And that was part of the problem. Once the yelling fades and the disbelief settles, the truth becomes uncomfortable. Caitlin Clark didn't reject opportunity. She rejected pressure. She didn't turn her back on the game. She turned toward herself. She chose rest instead of exhaustion, clarity instead of chaos, longevity instead of a brief surge of attention. Yet that choice was framed as selfish, as if protecting her future somehow harmed the present, as if she owed her time, body, and energy to a narrative she never agreed to write. Stephen A.'s reaction reflected that frustration. It sounded less like analysis and more like loss. Loss of control. Loss of certainty. Loss of a storyline that made things easy. And that's the real tension underneath all of this. Sports media is built on predictability disguised as debate. It needs stars to behave in familiar ways. Say yes. Show up. Play the part. When an athlete steps outside that framework, it forces a reckoning. Because autonomy can't be debated into submission. Caitlin Clark didn't make a dramatic stand. She didn't challenge anyone publicly. She didn't ask for approval. She simply exercised control over her own career. And in a system that profits from access, expectation, and obedience, that kind of calm independence feels threatening. That's why the reaction was so intense. Not because of what she did, but because of what her decision represents. A reminder that even the most marketed, most discussed, and most profitable athletes are still allowed to choose their own path. And when they do, it exposes just how much of sports media relies on athletes following scripts that were never theirs to begin with.